something that I always talk about, whether it's Josh Prohibition, EC3, The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, like that area within 1 hour of Cleveland has a disproportionate amount of talent. And I'm always interested in what people from that area or that spend time in that area attribute that to. Is it iron sharpens iron? Because, I mean, you can look at it and say, oh, wow, that's a coincidence. It can't be a coincidence that much talent comes from there.
So some of it has to deal with the strong amateur wrestling roots in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah.
You look at a guy like Ray Rowe, wrestled at St. Ignatius High School. You look at a guy like Dolph Ziggler. He wrestled in school in the state of Ohio over the past, 50 to 100 years. But one of the other real things that does get the credit for why Northeast Ohio is as strong as it is that there's always been a pretty strong independent wrestling scene in the Cleveland area, going all the way back to JT Lightning, who started Cleveland All-Pro back in the early 90s. And after, JT kind of decided to step down from promoting and he got sick, John Thorne and AIW really took over the area. And it's been one thing that's really made the area so strong is, consistent names being brought into the Cleveland area, since the early 2000s, starting with JT and kind of, John kind of carrying on that tradition for the most part. I mean, on any given time when AIW is running, you're looking at some of the future stars, anywhere. Like, think about it this way. We did an AIW tryout last February in Akron, and out of that tryout, I think 3 guys got signed to AEW and 1 to the WWE just in the time since that tryout. So it's been an insane thing, and it's just always John's got a good eye for talent, and I think the addition of the school has been big to help talent out. The AIW school really started in 2015 when Johnny and Candice or Johnny first, and when Candice moved out with Johnny, Candice took over with Johnny. They did it together. When Johnny left, it was something that, was not really foreseen at the time. So I kind of got thrust into a very, very quick role. And a lot of it was help from Johnny, or a lot of it was help from, John Thorne and Chandler Biggins, filling in a lot of my gaps. A lot of it was me just getting on the road as much as I could, doing seminars, learning from people. And, now I think we're in a really good spot when Josh Prohibition, as an assistant trainer myself, with now all my experience, now the TV experience, things like that, I really think we're churning out some of the better students in America. You look at guys like Trey Lamar, Josh Bishop, Wes Barkley, we're just scratching the surface, and, we're going up there 3+ days a week, to train the next generation.
It's funny you mentioned the amateur wrestling connection. I remember I was interviewing Gerald Harris, who is a former UFC fighter, famous for a lot of his slams. Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, would you ever get into pro wrestling? He's like, I actually wrestled Dolph Ziggler a few times when he was going to Cleveland, when Gerald went to Cleveland State, and Dolph was at Penn or whatever. It's like, man, it's such a small world how all that works out.
Well, here's your small world. My college wrestling, or my high school wrestling coach, Coach Gerald Harris at Cleveland State.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that.